The new director gave me 48 hours to put down 30 shelter cats to hit his budget. I got them all out, and he called the police on me for theft. I'd run the cat wing at Fernbrook Shelter for 7 years. Then the board hired Vance, who'd never worked with animals in his life, to get our numbers under control. He walked the cat wing exactly once with a clipboard and drew a line. Anything over capacity, anything older, anything that had been with us more than 90 days. 30 of them, most healthy, most just unlucky, were non-viable inventory, euthanized by Friday. It would look good on the quarterly report he was presenting to the board. I asked him for 2 weeks, and I'd find every one of them a home. He said the report was due Monday, so I had 48 hours. I didn't argue with him again. I just went home and I started calling. I called every rescue in 3 counties. I called foster networks and vet techs and the woman who ran the feed store and the retired couple who'd adopted from us in 2019. I posted photos of every single cat. Marbles, who was 14 and slept in a sock. Duchess, who hated everyone but me. A mother and 5 kittens found in a culvert 2 months back. I did not sleep. My phone did not stop. And people came. God, they came. They drove in from out of state. They lined up in the parking lot before we opened. Rescues sent vans. A woman took 3 seniors nobody had looked at in a year because, she said, somebody ought to. By Friday afternoon, every last one of those 30 cats was in a car, on a lap, in a carrier, going home. I thought I'd won. Vance came in Monday to find his cat wing empty and his neat little line item gone, and no euthanasia numbers for his report. He wanted his quarterly savings. What he had instead was 30 adoptions he couldn't take credit for, processed on emergency paperwork over a weekend he hadn't approved. So he called the police and reported the cats as stolen property, said I'd removed shelter assets without authorization. He suspended me and he told the officers in front of my staff that I'd trafficked animals out the back door. I sat in an interview room for 4 hours trying to explain that I'd saved 30 lives. Here's what Vance didn't know. That mother cat from the culvert, the one with 5 kittens, had gone home with a quiet woman who'd come in on the Thursday, filled out her paperwork, and never mentioned what she did for a living. She'd sat on the floor of the kennel room with that mama cat for an hour first, just letting her decide. She was a reporter, 20 years on the local paper, and before that, investigations. She'd walked into a shelter on the worst weekend of my life, watched a staff of 4 running on no sleep to save 30 animals from a spreadsheet, and asked, very casually, why the rush? She had the whole story before her kittens were weaned. It ran on a Sunday. The 48-hour order. The board that never approved it. The theft report filed against the woman who'd found homes for every single animal. The paper printed a photo of Marbles, the 14-year-old, asleep in his sock, in his new house, next to the word non-viable. The board read it the same morning as everyone else in town. Vance was gone in a week. Theft complaint evaporated the second anyone actually read the adoption records. 30 of them, each signed, each legal, each a cat in a home. I run Fernbrook now. There's no 90-day line anymore. And Duchess, who hated everyone but me, turned out to have been unadoptable for one very simple reason, which is that she'd already picked her person years ago and had been waiting for me to notice. She's asleep on my desk as I say this. People ask if I do it again. The sleepless weekend, the police, nearly losing everything. I've got 30 answers. 31? Counting the one on the desk. Some folks call that luck. Around here, we call it karma.